Shalom, my friends. Welcome to Weekly Parsha with Yehuda. This week's Parsha is a big one. It is Parshat Yitro. It is one of the two Parshiot in the Torah that discuss the Aseret Hadibrot, also known as the Ten Commandments. Or the 10 sayings, or if you want to get super technical with it. So let's get right into it. So this is named after Moses' father-in-law Yitro, right? Jethro, as it says here. So it speaks about Moses' two sons, Gershom and Eliezer, not to be confused with Gershon with a nun. Sometimes you see it interchangeably. It's basically the same name, but you have the Gershonites, who are also Levites, and then you have Gershom with the mem or the m. Very similar names, but different people. So fine. So it discusses Yitro or Jethro coming. And we see this prostration and that sort of thing. Obviously not worship, as some would have us believe. So fine. So Moses tells Yitro about his father-in-law, about all the stuff that happened and the 10 plagues and all that. And Yitro was very happy about all the good that God had done for Israel and rescued them. And so this is ultimately describing Yitro as, it says that he made some offerings, and he came to the elders, and he dined with Moses, that Israel came to dine with Moses' father-in-law before God. So basically, this is a what is described as a conversion to become a Jew, right? Yitro was he was a Midianite priest, right? So he wasn't a part of Israel, right? And then he became a part of Israel, right? Colloquially, we refer to this as Jews today, so don't get confused when we say Jews, Israel. We colloquially mean the same thing, right? Mordechai was called a Jew, even though he wasn't from the tribe of Judah, so the term is used to refer to Israelites, Jews, virtually interchangeably today. So, colloquially speaking, of course, we know that the house of Judah. Anyway, if someone wants to, get into semantic games about this, let them stumble over nonsense. But yeah, you get the point. So, yes, Yitro converted to become what we know today as Jews, Israelites, whatever you want to call it. So then you have Moses coming down to sit and judge the people, and he's basically teaching all the people about, basically the Torah, that God is basically, about laws, about what to do. And Yitro was saying, what are you doing? Why are you sitting by yourself while all the people stand before you till evening? And he says, the people come to me to see God. I'm telling them about, Torah. And if any of them has a case, basically like how to adjudicate and judge before people, and I make known the statutes of God and his teachings, right? Torah Tav. He's teaching him Torah. Teaching the people Torah. And Moses' father-in-law says, the thing you're doing is not good. You will surely wear yourself out. Both you and these people who are with you in the matter's too heavy for you. You can't do it alone. So he's basically saying, like, you're taking on too much, Moses. You need, you need to delegate some tasks. It's too much for you. So Yitro came up with this, delegation plan that basically you should, listen to me, I'll advise you, and may the Lord be with you. You represent the people of God, and you shall bring matters to God. So as a new convert to, the Israelite religion of the Torah, of keeping the Torah, also known as Judaism today, Yitro had a very substantial role in how we learn Torah today. You shall choose out of the entire nation of men of substance, God-fearers, men of truth, men who hate monetary gain. They're not going to take any bribes. And you shall appoint over them, Israel, leaders over thousands, leaders over hundreds, leaders over 50s, and leaders over 10. So basically, delegate people that you trust, fearers of God, and help them teach them the Torah, and they will disseminate the Torah, and it will be a more efficient process, and it won't wear you out, Moses. Right, so this was Yitro's idea. So, yeah, they shall judge the people and basically lighten the load. If you do this thing the Lord commands you, then you will be able to survive. And also, all this people will come upon their place in peace. So he's saying, look, you're still teaching the Torah. You're just not. And I think so. Basically, this is kind of giving the precedence for the Sanhedrin, Aaron, Nadav, Abihu, and the 70 elders. Right, the idea of adjudicating bodies of court, the wise, people who deal with these matters. And it's also helpful because they're learning the Torah too, and it's not just coming from one person. So Moses did this. He obeyed what his father-in-law said him to do. And that's how we do it. Moses chose men of substance out of Israel and appointed them with heads over the people and the leaders, and they did exactly what Yitro told them to do. And they would judge the people at all times. In difficult matters, they bring to Moses, but in a minor case, they would judge themselves. So if something was super difficult, they would consult Moses, but Moses wouldn't be worn out from everyone coming to him. Now, I heard there's like a debate about this. I can't remember if it was in the Rashi here, and we can go back to this Aliyah, but like some people argued that this was kind of, if we were just patient enough to hear the Torah from Moses, right, that would be better than hearing it from somebody who might, diluted from the source of, since Moses obviously was a unique prophet in his, abilities to convey the Torah. No one really compares. But yeah, regardless, that's how it was done, and yeah, that's how we do it. So then we have the fourth Aliyah. It speaks about in the third month the children of Israel's departure from Egypt. They arrived in the desert of Sinai, and it just talks about the different places that they encamped. And Moses ascended to God, and the Lord called him from the mountain. Oh, here we're getting, to the climax of the Torah. So shall you say to the house of Jacob and tell the sons of Israel, you have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you before me. And now if you obey me and keep my covenant, you shall be to me a treasure out of all the peoples, for mine is the entire earth. And you shall be to me a kingdom of, it says Kohanim, some translations say priests, and a holy nation. And these are the words that you shall speak to the children of Israel. So people, this word is uniquely used, Kohanim, right? Priests, right? So people ask, how, the priesthood, like, is this exclusive to the idea of Levitical priests? Well, you could argue that the Midianite priest was Yitro, right? He was described also as a Cohen, as a priest, but the entire nation of Israel can be described as priests. I like to think that this was inherited through when Melchizedek blessed Abraham, and Abraham received the priesthood through Melchizedek. I did a lot of videos on this, contrary to what the New Testament might say, but in the according to Chazal, this is how anybody really who inherits and keeps the Torah can be a priest in this sense, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, which is emphasized also sort of in the book of Daniel. If you watch my video on that, Rashi makes a connection between, the kingdom, the perpetual kingdom, that's the kingdom of priests, and that's, what Israel ultimately will serve to be in the future Messianic age, Bimheira v'Yamenu, speedily in our days. So Moses came and summoned the elders of Israel, and they placed these words before him, all the words that the Lord had commanded him. And they said in unison the famous words, right? All that the Lord has spoken, we shall do. Na'aseh v'nishma. Right? Sorry, wait, where is that? Asher Hashem na'aseh v'yashev Moshe et. Right. So ultimately, they say that this is what they will do. They will do, and they will. Oh, sorry, we haven't gotten there. Yeah, all that the Lord has spoken, we shall do. Right. And it says, Moses says, "Behold, I am coming to you in the thickness of the cloud, and the people when I speak to you, right? So, like, let me find the part. I'm embarrassed because I was trying to find that. Sorry, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So basically, there's a famous phrase in the Torah that says, we say, Na'aseh v'nishma, which means we will do and we will hear. And that refers to the idea that, the Israelites were going to, I'll find it later. But anyway, regardless, this is the idea that the Israelites didn't know exactly what was, the Torah was, but they said they would do it first. So this says go. Moses says, Lord said to Moses, go to the people and prepare them today and tomorrow, and they will wash their garments, and they will be prepared for the third day. And on the third day, the Lord will descend before the people upon all of Mount Sinai, and there should be boundaries around the people, saying, ascending the mountain and touching this edge. So basically, giving some boundaries to it. So this is building up to the biggest national event in history regarding the revelation, the mass revelation. And it says, basically talking about what's going. So it says, it came to pass on the third day that it was the morning, and there were thunderclaps and lightning flashes, and a thick cloud was upon the mountain, and a powerful blast of the shofar, and the entire nation that was in the camp shuddered. And Moses brought down the people toward God from the camp, and they stood at the bottom of the mountain. Remember, and if we look in Deuteronomy 4, there was no image that was seen here, right? So anyone claiming that God's in form of a man or anything like that, go to Deuteronomy 4, verses 9 through 19. I did plenty of videos on this. My Sam Shamoon video where I debunked this idea, right? There's no form of man being revealed here. So why would we worship God as a man? Today, we wouldn't, right? So here, you just hear these noises of the shofar, right? And yeah, this is the biggest revelation in the Torah, right? The Lord descended upon Mount Sinai to the peak of the mountain, and the Lord summoned Moses to the peak of the mountain. Moses, right? Go down the people lest they break their formation near to see, and many of them will fall, right? So also the priests who go near the Lord prepare themselves lest the Lord wreak destruction upon them. So basically there had to be boundaries because this was, a very auspicious, it's a magnanimous, no, there was no event like this ever in history, right? Where God was speaking in front of all these, all of the people. Let me see here. So now here it is. The biggest part, right? The biggest mass revelation ever. The 10 Commandments that were given. We have, I am the Lord your God who took you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall not have any gods before my presence, right? You shall not make for yourself a graven image of any likeness which is in the heavens above or on the earth below, which is in the water beneath the earth, right? So this is a summary kind of what Deuteronomy 4 verses 9 through 19 say regarding not worshiping any form, including the form of a man, which is why we reject Jesus as God. And of course, we reject him as Messiah as well. And anyone else claiming to be a God in the flesh, right? That is not a Torah concept. And it goes against what God says. You shall neither prostrate yourself before them nor worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a zealous God who visits the iniquity upon the fathers, upon the sons, and upon the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me. We get into, how sin is dealt with. I'm performing loving kindness to thousands. We say, the Erech Apayim, right? To those who love me and those who keep my commandments, you shall not take the name of the Lord in vain, for the Lord will not hold blameless anyone who takes his name in vain. So this is why we say Hashem instead of, the Tetragrammaton, which, yeah. Remember the Sabbath day and sanctify it. 6 days may you perform work and all your labor, but on the seventh day, the Sabbath for your Lord, for God, you shall perform no labor, neither shall you, your son, your daughter, your maidservant. So no work for anyone. For in 6 days the Lord created the heavens and the earth, the sea that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. The Lord blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, right? Yep. Ki sheshet amim asah Hashem et hashamayim v'et haaretz et hayam et kol asher bam. Yeah, so this is, something that Jews are very familiar with saying on Shabbat. Honor your father and mother in order that your days be lengthened on the land that the Lord your God is giving you. So that's important to have your kavod for your, they call it kivud of the aim, and that would always confuse me because it doesn't say of or aim. It says avicha et amecha, right? But in religious Jewish circles, we contract it to kivud of the aim, or I guess it says kabed et avicha et imecha. So if you hear kivud av aim, that's what it means. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, you shall not cover your neighbor's house, you shall not cover your neighbor's wife, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. So that is the first iteration of the 10 Commandments in the Torah. I think Vayet Chanan in Devarim and Deuteronomy is the other place where the 10 Commandments are mentioned in virtually the same thing. So this is an interesting verse. It says, and the people saw the voices and the torches and the sound of the shofar and the smoking in the mountain. The people saw and trembled, and they stood from afar. It says they saw the voices, right? This is it. It says that Rashi says they saw what was audible, what's impossible to see elsewhere. So this was like a out of body experience, because it doesn't say they saw any image, right? We know in Devarim chapter 4 it says they saw no image, so they didn't see anything. They were like seeing sound. That's not even a human. How do you see sound, right? Unless you're on some sort of like there's in a physical sense, it's impossible to do that, right? So this was a supernatural event, right? And they said to Moses, you speak with us and we hear, but let not God speak with us lest we die, right? And Moses says, fear not, for God has come in order to exalt you, and in order that his awe be upon your faces, that you shall not sin. And the people remained far off, but Moses drew near to the opaque darkness where God was, right? Opaque darkness, right? It's not a physical form, right? So, and the Lord said to Moses, so you shall say to the children of Israel, you have seen from the heavens that I have spoken with you. You shall not make images of anything that is with me. The gods of silver and gold you shall not make for yourselves. Right? And talking about an altar of the earth you shall make for me. So God is commanding them to make an altar. Right? Vizavachta, right? And you shall slaughter beside it and your burnt offerings with peace and offer your sheep and cattle. So this is the commandment to do that. Whether I allow my name to be mentioned, whenever I allow my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. So this is how we commune with God. And when you make for me an altar of stones, you shall not build them on hewn. So it's giving specific instruction how to do it. And you shall not ascend with steps upon my altar, so that your nakedness shall be exposed upon it. So it's just giving specific criteria for this. So maybe Na'aseh v'nishma was not in this Parsha. Oh, well, okay, here it is. It's in Exodus 24:7. So I jumped the gun, guys. I'm sorry. We haven't gotten to Na'aseh v'nishma yet. We will do and we will hear. So I got a little excited about that because that's a great... So we're going to get more details about the, revelation at Har Sinai, the most significant event ever in history, where God revealed himself to the nation of Israel, not in a form, but through the 10 Commandments that we just read through. This is a huge Parsha, and I hope this video has been a blessing to you. Shalom Aleichem.